Good morning, 2-3. Let's get started with math. We are continuing with fractions. You guys have been doing really good with them. And today we are going to now be moving on with showing the fractions that they tell us to. Okay, so we're going to have to be drawing these fractions out that they want us to. So the very first thing you're going to do is watch my video on how to complete the lesson. The second, I also put the video from lesson 10, which is right below right here. That shows 9 minutes long. You will then complete the problem set from lesson 10. And as always, if you need help, you're going to message us. Please remember that when you click this link, it's going to take you to the homework helpers. You just scroll to lesson 10, and that's another resource to help you if you need it. So let's look at what we're doing. Okay, so as you could see, they're giving us the shapes, and a lot of this is going to be giving us the shapes and telling us to create the fractions that they're asking us, okay? So let's try to remember some important things about fractions before we get started. The biggest thing is that all fractions have to be equal, equal, equal. So I know that it's hard for us to draw perfect lines because I don't even do it on the computer, but we're going to try our best to make sure that it looks the most equal it can when we're creating these shapes and we're putting them into equal fractions, okay? So the main thing is it has to be equal. Then we need to make sure we're paying attention to what they're telling us to do in regards to the shading, how many parts we have to shade depending on what they're telling us. So we definitely have to be reading the directions carefully today, making sure we're drawing equal parts, and we're taking our time. So let's look at number 1, part A. The very first thing it's asking us is, do the shapes in problem 1A show halves or thirds? So if you notice, to help us, since we're just learning fractions, halves, I put a 2 above it because it means that if it's something is in half, it's broken up into 2, and thirds means it's broken up into 3. So when I look at all of these shapes below, there's 2, 2, 2, 2. So that obviously is showing me that all of those shapes are broken up into halves. So that's all I'm going to do right here is type halves, okay? Now number 1B is telling me draw one more line to, here's that word again from yesterday, partition, partition, which means split, each shape above now into fourths. So now they want us to take these here that were in halves and add a line to them to make them now split into fourths, and they have to be equal fourths, okay? So I'm going to do some for you, and then you're going to finish the rest. So when I look at this shape right here, if I was to draw my line like this, for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, yes, but again, like I keep saying, they are not equal parts, so this would not be correct. They have to be equal, okay? So we want to make sure that we're doing equal. So you want to just try your best to find the middle and draw a line across as steady as you can, and then you're going to have your 4 equal parts, okay? Now when you come here, you're going to be doing the same thing. You're going to make your parts into 4 equal parts, okay? And then you will complete this one and this one. You have to draw one line so that it's now split into 4 equal parts. Okay, now moving on to number 2, partition or split each rectangle into thirds. So the very first thing we have to do is take these rectangles and put them into thirds, into 3 equal parts. And then we need to shade the shapes as indicated. So this has 2 steps that we have to do. So first thing is telling me that we have to split it into 3 parts, okay? 3 parts. 1, 2, 3. Now this one is telling me that I need to shade in 3 thirds. So that means I need to shade in all the parts because 3 thirds, I have to shade in 3. So I'm going to come up to my markup, my highlighter, and because I'm shading in all of it, I'm literally just going to do this because all parts it told me had to be shaded. 1, 2, 3. So all 3 parts are shaded, okay? Now for the next 2, you're going to do them. Remember, the first thing you have to do is split it into 3 equal parts, and then you have to shade to show 2/3. Here, split it into 3 equal parts and shade to show 1/3, okay? Down here, number 3 is pretty much the same thing, but now they're telling us that we have to partition each circle into now fourths. So now they want us to partition into fourths and then shade the shape as indicated. So you are going to split all these circles into fourths. So that's the very first thing you need to do. So you're going to go to your drawing, and you're going to split them into fourths, okay? Once you have it split into fourths, you need to color it in what it says. You're going to shade it in. So this one says, again, 4/4. So that means that I would need to shade in 4 of them, okay? Remember that you can, of course, do the drawing tool and color it in, or you could just use the markup tool like I did. So it told me to do 4/4, so I colored in 1, 2, 3, 4, all 4 parts. When you do the rest, again, the very first thing you do is separate them, split them, partition them into 4 equal parts, and then you need to shade in the number that they're telling you underneath. All right, moving along. Same as you see that what we're doing here is a lot of partitioning and shading today. So now you're going to partition and shade the following shapes as indicated. Each rectangle or circle is one whole. So now they're giving you either rectangles or circles or squares, and they're telling you what they want you to show, what fraction, okay? So look at A. It's saying 1/4. So that means they want you, the word here, the second number is always telling you how many parts you need to have. So it's telling me that I need to separate it into 4 equal parts, okay? So that's what it's telling me, 4 equal parts. Then it's telling me that I need to shade in 1 of those parts, because that would be 1/4, just like that, 1/4, okay? Same thing now over here. It's saying 1/3. So you need to split this into 3 equal parts and then shade in 1 of them. Okay? 1/2. Half we know is 2. Split this into 2, shade in 1 of them. So that's all you're going to be doing down here, okay? So all of this, that's what you're doing, whatever it's telling you. The first number is how many you shade. The second number is how many total parts you have. Let me say that one more time. The first number is how many you shade in. The second number is the total number of equal parts. Keyword equal parts, okay? So that's what you're going to do for the rest of these. Now number 5. Split the pizza below so that Maria, Paul, Jose, and Mark each have an equal share. Label each student's share with his or her name. So I'm going to get you started with that. So obviously I already counted that there are 4 people having this pizza, okay? And it said that everyone needs to have an equal share of that pizza because that's what makes it fair, right? It's not fair if someone else has more than you. So we're going to split it into 4 just like that, the pizza, okay? Then all we're going to have to do, and I'm just going to do it right here, is we are writing their names. So Maria gets that piece. Paul is going to get this piece. Jose is going to get this piece. And Mark is going to get the last piece. And again, they're all equal, so no one's arguing. So that's what we had to do here. Now it says, what fraction of the pizza was eaten by each of the boys? So each means 1, right? So if we're looking here, that means that it already told me each. So I know that my number on top of the fraction is going to be 1. And then the bottom number is the total number of parts. So when we count the total number of parts, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So the answer would be 1/4. Okay? You're going to answer part B. What fraction of the pizza did the boys eat all together? So that means all together, what did the boys eat? And then at the second number is going to be the total number of parts. So you're just going to try your best on that one, okay? The last page is going back to, again, partitioning, splitting, and shading based on the fraction they tell you. So all I'm going to remind you here is remember that 1/2, the very first number is what to shade. The second number is how many parts you're splitting it into equal. So 1/2 is 2 parts. So I'm just splitting it into 2. I'm going to shade in, according to what it's telling me, one of those parts, just like that, okay? And then you're just going to complete the rest. And down here, you're going to follow what we did on top with the pizza, but now they're telling us that the pizza is being split between Shane, Raul, and John, and all have an equal share. So now we only have 3 sharing, okay? So you're going to split this now into 3, and you're going to label with each name, and then what fraction of the pizza did the boys get in all, okay? So try your best with that. And this is what you're doing today. So it's just pretty much a lot of partitioning, so splitting the shape into equal parts, and a lot of shading the shape based on what they tell you. So if you have any questions, you need some help, you want me to walk you through it, message me and I will gladly do so. Otherwise, have fun today with partitioning and shading your shapes.